Hello YouTube. So today we're going to be going back to the basics in Studio X Max because didn't touch these aspects in our previous tutorial. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk about the user interface quickly. I'm going to be very brief in this tutorial because I don't want to take most of your time, just something quite basic. So I'll start from the top. So we have a small icon right here for 3D Max. You can easily click this and do whatever you want. You can create a new file, you can reset the scene, you can open a new document or a new file you've been working on before. You can save as, and that has a drop down as well. The open has a drop down as well. So the new, you can new all. So you can import, you can export, you can send to other softwares like Maya, Softimage, Motion Builder, and this Modbox. Modbox is a sculpting package. So I'll just click that back. Then I'll talk about the quick access toolbar where you have the same thing pretty much you have here. So you can see the icons are similar. So what you can do here is you can create a new scene. You can do so this is basically file handling, and we have a drop down. So you can decide if you want to use this workspace or you want to use the default enhanced menu and the likes. So I won't dig deep too much in this, so I'll just leave that alone. So this is the quick access toolbar. Then we'll talk about the main toolbar. That's where we have your commonly used 3ds Max tools or commands. Let me put it that way. So I'll start with the edit. The edit, you can just simply transform your objects. You can delete, you can clone, you can hold, you can use the material editor. Then we'll move to tools. So yeah, you can create containers, you can open the scene explorer, and so much more. So here you can group objects. If you have more than one object in your scene, you can just simply group it together. Also we have views. You can adjust the views, the viewport configuration, and so there's a lot to it. So I'll just scratch the surfaces a bit. I won't go too deep. So yeah, from here you can create different things. You can create boxes, you can create cones, you can create spheres, and so much more. So this is your create tab. You can just create objects from here. You can create cameras as well, helpers and likes. So we have the modifiers, we have the animation, we have the graph editor. So these are your commonly used commands, or you can just access the tools directly from here. So this is the main toolbar right here, this one, this place. This is the main toolbar, and you can actually move things around here. You can remove and fix it back, so it just depends on you. So this is the main toolbar. And after that we have the ribbon. So this is the ribbon. Ribbon actually started from 3ds Max 2011 or 12. I'm not sure right now, but it wasn't present in 2009 and the likes. So with the ribbon you can easily access modeling tools, painting tools, and scattering tools. Like if you want to create multiple objects, you can just paint objects on surfaces or use the paintbrush. You can also use populate. Populate came in 2014, where you can actually add characters to your scene to enhance your scene to make it more believable. So this is actually more useful for architects that are doing visualization and 3D visualization. Okay, so after that we'll move to the viewport layer tab, which is right here. So but I can't explain these until I explain the viewport itself. So this is the viewport. We have 4 viewports. We have the top view, we have the left view, the front view, and the perspective view. So what the perspective view does is it actually allows you to move around, so you can see your object in 3D space, and you can edit it right there. You can edit from here as well, depending on what you're working on. If you want to see your object from the top, you can do that. So in your viewport you can decide to change from wireframe to shaded or realistic, which shows shadows and likes. Well, I'm just going to scratch the surface. Like I said, I won't go too deep. So this is your wireframe. Wireframe just shows the wires of your object, any object you have in the scene, so it doesn't actually shade it. So to switch between wireframe and shader, I'll just press F3. So this is your viewport. This is your perspective view. You can also change your perspective view to camera view depending on what you're working on. So if I press Ctrl C in my perspective view, it automatically creates a camera by itself. So I'll just press Ctrl Z and switch that off. So that's the viewport for you. And so to change viewport, maybe you don't actually need this other tree, you can just click this arrow right here, and you can decide to use only the viewport, the top view, or you can go back and use this style. So there are different styles you can choose from. So it just depends on you, depends on what you want. So 3ds Max is actually quite robust, so it's cool. So after that, I'll move to the command panel. The command panel actually contains command panels, like we have the create panel, we have the modify panel. The create panel enables you to create objects. So instead of using the create right here, it depends on what you have, what works for you. Actually, I use the command panel a lot. I don't use the main toolbar. So I use the command panel, I create stuff from here. So I use the modify panel to modify. We have that as well. We have it here. You can select different modifiers, bro. So we'll just stick to this for now. We'll explain this. So this is the modify panel. You can, like for instance, I want to modify this box. I'll just adjust the length, the height. So it just depends on what you want to do. So after that, I'll move to the hierarchy. The hierarchy can adjust the pivots of your objects. You can move it. Like right now it's actually centered in the middle, so I can just adjust it and move it somewhere else, like to the side. So it depends on what I'm doing, working on. Let me just reset the pivot, set it back to the middle. Then the motion panel. In the motion panel, you can actually edit controllers. This actually works well, or works for animation. If you are not animating, then you don't need to come to the motion panel. So after that, I'll move to the display panel. So in the display panel, you can set a lot of things. So you can freeze objects, you can hide geometry, you can do a whole lot of things with this. So after that, I'll move to the utilities. So utilities is the last thing right now. So with the utilities, you also have more commands, more things to work with, different stuffs. So this is actually, I won't go too deep this because this is a beginner tutorial, so I'll just leave that right there. So another thing I'd like to talk about is the quad menu. Like if I right click on an empty space or even on an object, it just opens this menu. This is the quad, this is what we call the quad menu. So with the quad menu, you can easily access, transform, the display. There are a whole lot of stuff you can do with this. So that's the quad menu. And lastly, I'll talk about, okay, no, not lastly, I'll talk about the material editor. For instance, I want to shade my box. I'll need the material editors. To access the material editor, you can find it right here. I just click this, then it opens this slate material editor. Actually, 3ds Max has two types of material editor. So you can usually you can either use, I usually use the slate material editor now, because the compact material editor has limitations. You're only limited to these slots, unlike the slate material editor where you have this open field. You can just create as many materials as you want and shade it. Okay, so for instance, I want to use this shellac material and paste it on my box. Just with this, to assign the material to my object, I'll just click this. Although we are going to talk about that more in the material and texturing tutorial, but right now let me just scratch it. So that's how it works. This is the material editor. I'll switch that off. So, and lastly, I'll talk about the rendering toolbar. Okay, so if I right click on my toolbar, you can see I can dock my, okay, let's say I want to put this at the top, so I can just put that. I can do a whole lot of stuff. Let me just drag this back to where it was. Just drop it here. So right here I have the layers. These are just for normal layers. These are for the animation layers, and these are just normal layers. Maybe you have three different objects that you want to group into one layer. You just put them here, and if you have an animation you've created and you put it on a particular layer, you put it here. So that's for layers. And so let's get back to rendering. So this is the rendering setup. You can see this icon right here. So this is the rendered frame window. So this interface is actually very important, because you can't actually output anything without this. So this is whatever you render in your scene. Let me just click. So to render an object, like okay, I'm running from this view now. I'll just click this render production and just renders it, and what it shows is the rendered frame window. So this is the rendered frame window where you can adjust different commands, and you can save your image, you can clone your image, you can adjust this and different stuff. So I'm gonna stop the tutorial right here. So I just hope you guys learned something today. So if you like this tutorial, you can go ahead and click the like button below, and if you're yet to subscribe, it won't cost you a penny. Just smash that button, smash this subscribe button right now. So I'll see you guys next week, and have a great time. Bye. And don't forget to share this tutorial, it might help someone. So bye for now.